Welcome back to Horses of Courses. I'm Tania.
I'm Susanna.
And this is your June podcast. I can't believe we're already halfway through 2026.
It's almost my birthday.
Oh my gosh, time flies.
You'll forget about it.
I won't. I'm going to put it in my phone with an alarm and timer and all kinds of things. But this month I traveled to Washington, D.C. to speak at the American Horse Council on a topic that you probably know is near and dear to my heart, and that is kill pen schemes, broker lots, mass bailing, and the impacts to the industry.
I bet if we searched those words, it would come up on our page probably 400 times.
Well, I bet if you put it in Google search, it would come up everything from HOP going back 15, 16 years. The first time I ever posted about them was in 10. That's wild. For 16 years
We're
fighting this fight. We are getting old. I had a lot more vigor back then. But so that was well received. It was really great to be able to speak to the industry as a whole at such a major event, and to have essentially an hour of discussion on that topic. If you're hearing this and you're not familiar, our very first podcast, coming up on almost 3 years ago, was on the topic of mass bailing, and it actually is our most popular podcast to date.
Is it?
It is. So you can go back and check that first episode if you want to learn about how those operate and the harm that they cause to the industry and to horse rescue and to horses. We also wanted to tell you guys that next month, on July 17th, 18th, and 19th, we're going to be in Hocking Hills at Pine Creek Campground for the ATFO meetup.
If you've never been to Hocking Hills, it's absolutely beautiful.
It's a beautiful place. We've not been to this campground, but it is. We've heard great things. They have an indoor, huge indoor arena. They have an outdoor obstacle course, so you can bring your own horse. There are still RV spots available. You can bring your own horse, stay on site, and take part in just the group trail rides, meet the trainers.
You can come without a horse and just camp there and hang out.
Right. So if you just want to see how the horses are doing, see how the trainers are coming along, that would be great. It is open to anybody who's a HOP follower. We'd love to see you there. And if you want more information, you can always look the event up on the ATFO page and the HOP page.
Look up Hocking Hills, too, because there's some beautiful hikes that you can take. If you don't want to bring a horse and you just want to hang out with us, you can go to Old Man Cave and all kinds of stuff. It's really lovely.
Yeah, and I do know that Pine Creek, they are booked up for their cabins and RV rentals, but there are RV spots, and there are plenty of places to stay that have some availability around that area. So, we're going to jump right into a topic Susanna's very passionate about, and that's vitamin E.
Well, it's really important.
It is important.
Yeah.
It is important. A lot of people, and I think it's a good topic for what we're going to talk about later, because we're going to talk about equine obesity as an epidemic. But when your horse is a metabolic horse and it's up and it's off grass, then vitamin E is going to be a major sort of thing, because unless a horse is on grass pretty much full time year round, it's difficult for them to get enough vitamin E. So you're not really supplementing vitamin E if your horse is out on full time nice pasture.
Well, there are instances where vitamin E is actually low in grass. When grass is really stressed, it doesn't have very much vitamin E.
Right, but if you have nice, good pasture, and you know what I mean, like in theory that your horse is going to have enough through the winter. It's stored enough.
Right.
So you're not going to supplement. But what we're seeing is lots and lots of horses are kept in dry lot situations because we're fighting obesity, or they're stalled half day, or they're not on really nice pasture. And people think that their horse feed, commercial horse feeds, maybe they think there's enough because they see it mentioned, but it's not.
Not only is it often not enough, it's often also the wrong format of vitamin E. It's not the D-alpha tocopherol.
So there's a difference. You have natural occurring vitamin E, and then you have synthetic vitamin E.
And synthetic vitamin E is not nearly as uptakeable by horses. So The thing about vitamin E, it's the primary antioxidant in your horse's diet, so it's really important. It's anti-inflammatory, You know, it helps. It won't keep your horse from getting EPM and uveitis and all that, but it is one of the fight or offer agents, for lack of a better word. I don't know which one to call it, but
well, a lot of times horses are diagnosed with EPM, and if you actually pull a spinal tap, you'll find they don't have EPM. They have a low vitamin E.
Right, and they get
level.
wobbly in the back end, and it's an E problem, not a
EPM problem.
Not an EPM
It's a vitamin E problem.
Well, and the other thing that's important to know about vitamin E is broodmares that are low in vitamin E don't pass on very adequate colostrum to their foals, so that's a problem too.
So if you, and it's costly. The thing you need to understand is supplementing good quality vitamin E is not inexpensive. I mean, it is a bit costly.
Yeah, well, get the stuff to treat EPM when you have fake EPM, or have a horse with uveitis that needs an eye removed. And that don't get us wrong, vitamin E is not going to keep your horse, but it's going to make your horse less likely to have these conditions. It's one of the things that they use to fight that off.
Well, just overall horse well-being, they have to have it. And we saw the catastrophic results recently of a horse that was it equine motor neuron disease?
Yes, EMND.
EMND. Cameo came into us, and she had always been stalled in a horrific negligent situation. She was probably born, I would suspect, to a mare who was probably also kept in that situation, so probably in utero, vitamin E deficient. And the result of a horse going for a very long time without enough vitamin E
was pitiful.
It was a terrible thing.
It was a terribly sad thing.
It can't be reversed. They have muscle tremors. They can't gain weight properly. They can't. Their carriage is very clearly off, neurologic.
She tremored almost all the time.
All the time, and we had never experienced a horse with this, which I think is shocking given how many horses we have rehabbed from just horrific neglect. But when it occurs, it goes to a point that in research, you can never correct it. If you catch it early, once it started, you might stabilize it, but hers was far, far too far gone. No quality of life, really. So when you're talking about vitamin E, people always ask, like, what brands do you like? Elevate. If you have a horse that's deficient, it's important that you put them on a liquid first.
Right.
We like Elevate. There are other brands, but we just kind of, when we started using vitamin E years ago, Elevate was the product we've used. It's what Riddle would give us. It's what they recommended.
Right.
So we tend to use Elevate for the liquid version if we know a horse is likely deficient, and then we will transition after about a month to powder. I have gone through all the research to figure out, like, cost-wise, what's the best quality at the best price.
How much time have we spent talking about vitamin E and comparing vitamin E?
Oh, it's been wild.
Hours.
I mean,
Hours.
Days of our lives. If you added up how many hours
These
would
are
be,
the days of our lives.
Yeah. But Ultra Cruise natural vitamin E powder for a horse that is not deficient but you're maintaining is the best priced, highest quality, that we can find. And so that's what we buy at the rescue for the horses to get daily.
There are others, though. I mean, Elevate powder is terrific, and Black Horse vitamin E is terrific. And sometimes you can catch Black Horse on a sale where it works out
and
cheaper
Kentucky,
for a little while. KER.
Yes, KER makes one. So there.
And Nano E, I think, also.
We have some Nano E right there at the rescue in liquid.
But people will say feed flax, blah blah blah. That won't do it.
There is vitamin E, and like I say, we use DAC oil, and there's vitamin E, but it's not going to be enough for those horses that are never on grass. And remember, hay doesn't have vitamin E.
What does for 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, but like by the time you're feeding your hay as a rule, you're not going to have vitamin E left. So the takeaway from this is, if you have a horse that's stalled half of the time, even half of the time, if you have a horse on a dry lot, or if you have a horse in stress pasture, sparse pasture,
Or even a broodmare. It's not an unwise idea to supplement your broodmare.
Supplement vitamin E. Frankly, I mean, it's not going to hurt just to supplement unless you know your horse is full-time great grass. You probably need to make sure you're supplementing a natural form of vitamin E at the dosage on the package of whatever brand you choose.
Interestingly enough, also, I'm at the age where women do what women do when they get a certain age and get hot flashes. And my OBGYN told me to take high doses of vitamin E while that was going on. And then when they subsided, to go back to vitamin E once per day. And that actually worked, which was amazing and phenomenal, and I highly recommend trying.
Well, and I figure our target audience, that will be relevant information for them.
It does make my hair too slippery to stay in a French braid, though. It won't stay in a French braid anymore.
So, that is, yeah, I don't know. That's just, it's so important. That's the takeaway. Make sure your horse is on vitamin E unless it's in beautiful grass all day, all night. We're going to talk next about this little guy you may have seen on the Heart of Phoenix page recently, Fiyero. It kind of worked out. I said to Amanda, I said, this is almost like a divine providence. I never really post a route that we're going. I may say, hey, we're going to pick a horse up here or there. We were taking Swagger to Hillary Holman in Michigan. And I just, for some reason, posted the route, a print screen, and said, does anybody need anything along the way? It was just kind of something I don't usually do. And we get up to Michigan, and I get a message that says, hey, have you already passed back through such and such part of, I guess it was at Indiana maybe? And I said,
Not yet.
Not yet. And she said, well, there's this terribly foundered mini, and someone's posting needing help for it. And the timing was wild. We ended up, the place we had planned to stay was right near there. I was able to connect with this girl who had picked this little pony up from a doctor, she said. So the guy was a horse trader, but she seemed quite ethical. She's like, I buy and resell horses. I went out to see this guy. I had no idea this is what he looked like. Saw his feet. And the guy was a doctor who owned him. And, just said he was going to shoot him. He wanted him out of there. And I guess there was a divorce happening, and he had been the kid's pet. And his feet just, they curl and up and around. Just terrible elf shoes. He's maybe 5 years old.
When I called Root and Riddle, they said, what does your pony need seen for? I said, he has elf shoes. And she got really quiet for a minute, and she goes, okay, I have to ask, what type of shoeing is that? And I said, no, his feet have grown so long that they're curled up like elf shoes. She said, I've never heard it called that before. I said, my goodness.
That's so wild.
I know. I said, what do you all call it? She said, grossly overgrown hooves. I said, elf shoes is quicker.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, and so he's only 5. He seems like a good, sweet, kind, well-behaved little fellow. He does seem pretty uncomfortable. Susanna saw him yesterday or day before and mentioned
I thought
that
he looked uncomfortable. I hate to put him in my trailer tomorrow, but he has to.
So she'll be taking him to Root and Riddle to see Dr. Fleming tomorrow. And it was wild. The girl made contact with me. She brought him to our trailer where we had stayed overnight the next morning, and we just happened to be going through there. And if we hadn't, I don't know what would have happened to him, because she's like, I took him because the guy was going to, kill him. But I knew that I didn't have the ability, even my vet and farrier, and the cost to do this. And I don't know of any organizations around there. So, I was just so thankful. And I told her it was a connection. I said, if you run into things like this, we will come. If it's a surrender situation, we'll come in the future if you pick them up and help if it's something like this. And so now he's at Mulligan. He'll see Dr. Fleming tomorrow. And I really think, as bad as the feet are, I think he will be correctable. If not, it will be awfully sad. Yeah. He's really a doll, just cute as he could be. So just right place, right time. And that's happened over the years, but I just thought, wow, we were so supposed to save this little fellow.
And if you feel sorry for a little fellow with elf shoes or grossly overgrown hooves, feel free to chip in on the Root and Riddle bill, because it won't be cheap.
Right. It's probably a couple $1,000 deal, and but it's the best thing. Anytime a horse is like mini or whatever has come in, if I haven't gone there first and let them address it initially, I've come to regret it. So it's just the best place, because you're seeing a vet podiatrist.
Right.
And Dr. Fleming is a leader in the world in podiatry, as far as probably anyone in the world's concerned. So it's just taking him to give him the best shot. People will get feet like this and they'll just start hacking on them, and it's wild. You can't do that. You need x-rays, and you need somebody who knows exactly where and what and how. And so, and just a farrier may know that without being a vet, potentially, if they have the x-rays. But don't mess with feet like that. And definitely do donate if it sounds like a compelling story to you. We're going to roll into our hot take. This one was pretty hot. So I haven't actually read it. Susanna was telling me about it because I hadn't been in the PMs. But apparently we had a private message that was pretty condescending and negative concerning a horse, and how it was funny. It was like how frequently he was posted and how he had made no progress since he had came back to us. This is a horse that, we had removed from a situation where he had made no progress after a few years. And I thought it was wild because we posted 3 or 4 times about him recently.
Well, you didn't ever put it on the hot page, so you only put it on your page.
No, it's on the hot page.
I looked. I couldn't find it today.
No, but it's there. I mean, it's there. And the trainer who has this horse now has posted about him. But previously, we've posted the horse wearing tack.
Yes.
We've posted the horse having his feet done. We posted the horse getting
freeze branded.
His freeze brand. I mean, it's like,
we posted the horse like with our face against his face. We've posted videos of me catching him.
Yeah, and so this horse came back after a few years to us without with a lot of like emotional like baggage and confusion, and we very intentionally. I mean, we have people who, this was not a complicated horse. This was an easy horse that was made complicated, unfortunately. But he's really done well, and I think to the point that we always try to make, we don't rush things. There are benchmarks for safety that we care about. We want a horse to be able to be caught, receive farrier care, vet care, and not be dangerous and not be traumatized by interactions. Those are important. Get their teeth done. And these are all things that this horse has had done now and been having done. But we're not really in a rush to get a horse out the door under saddle. Like he has had training toward that, but we just have been in no rush. Like there's no rush. The horse can get the care that he needs. And so with any horse that's at Heart of Phoenix, we want them to get into a home as soon as it works well, but this horse needed time off. He needed to be a horse with other horses. Like that was really important.
He needed his tendons and ligaments to go back to where they belong.
With the significant stress from his feet having not been done before we picked him back up. But I think that it's when somebody decides what they think the truth is, and it doesn't matter what actually happens. The horse could be under saddle next week with the trainer.
Then they'd say we rushed.
Yeah, like you can't. It doesn't matter when you have an idea of how you want it to be, and you're not willing to see the truth. Like it wouldn't matter what we post, what we do. You're on the wrong side of the coin. So.
And when he left me, if he knows you, you can go out in the field and catch him without a halter. Now, if he doesn't know you, it takes you a little bit.
It loads really nicely.
Loads really nicely. But now at the trainers, she's had many, many people in her barn mess with him, and there's only one person in her barn that he will not let mess with him. So now that he's in a lesson barn type situation, he's getting used to a whole lot of people, which is what he needed.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, and he. So this particular horse is doing well.
He looks great.
Looks great. Has made tremendous progress. He was for a long time with a couple of our trainers that just don't post. I mean, Nelson and Morgan they don't post, and it's just not what they do. But that they were still making progress. I mean, everybody doesn't market what they're doing. Adam
frankly,
Black.
They don't, because they get tired of people getting on there going with their little pecking fingers.
Well, and now he is with the trainer who posts a lot, and so they'll get, but the horse is doing well, and so if you're going to be like, send a snarky message, about something that isn't true, just know you're wrong. I love that part. You're wrong.
You like to say you're wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong. Sorry.
You're wrong.
Sorry, you're wrong. That leads us on to...
I can't even read what that says.
On to fat horses.
Oh,
that says fat horses.
I thought it said fat ASS.
It does
Yes,
kind of
I'm
look like... It looks like it says
You
fat
wrote that?
horses. But it says fat horses. Fat horses.
Fat horses are hard.
And if you hear this... Maybe, I don't want to say don't feel targeted, probably feel targeted if you have a fat horse, but don't in a way, like we have horses that get heavy in the rescue and it is a struggle, and I understand that it's a struggle, but a lot of times what's happening is we're seeing horses we've adopted out that we've worked really hard to save and train and place well, and then they end up morbidly, grotesquely obese in the adopter's care, and we get a lot of pushback sometimes when we say, hey, we don't want the horse to founder and come back to us and need euthanized. And unfortunately in the past, there have been horses that went out as lovely, fit horses that came back to us when they weren't able to stay in their homes, grotesquely obese,
And
horrifically
terribly
foundered,
rotated.
to the point that we could not save them, and we then had to euthanize a horse that was literally loved to death. And that is heartbreaking, and it is not necessary. It is not necessary.
Part of the thing is, though, and I have experienced this myself, the first time that I took my pony to Elkins Creek, someone else took a picture of me on my pony, and I didn't realize that my pony was as fat as she was till I saw this picture. And I was like, and I knew she was chubby, but I had been working on what in the world to change to fix that, but I didn't realize she was as chubby as she was till I saw this picture. So sometimes it takes somebody else's eyeballs to go, oh my.
Well, and I think that's very true. You don't realize it. And then, then you get defensive and you feel attacked, but you're killing your horse. So it is a gross form of neglect, really, because you're neglecting the needs of the horse by allowing it to get fat. You can put precautionary measures there before they get there, and once they're fat, then it's work. It's hard work.
It's hard work.
There's no such, when they say easy keeper, I'm like, there's nothing easy. It's horrific. The management it takes to keep a horse that is prone to obesity from becoming, a laminitic horse. And so, it is hard work, but you do have to take it so seriously because you can't reverse it. Once the horse has become metabolic or has foundered, then you've created something that you're gonna fight even harder with. Once the horse has had a founder episode, the odds are so much greater that it'll happen again. And then when the horse gets older, then it gets Cushing's, and it's going to be more apt to founder, and you just get in this horrible cycle of pain.
Think about Spicy and how fat she came back, and
right, and
yeah.
I couldn't believe she hadn't foundered. It was
no,
gross.
it was crazy. Well, now she'd gotten footy,
yeah,
time after time,
right.
which is really some mild laminitic
Yeah.
episode, but she never had any rotation. But bless Sonia's heart, she listened and did exactly what I told her to do, and she's maintained her lovely.
Well, and we have adopters that really work hard to keep their horses in shape. But it is the lazy option to just let them. There's no other way to describe it. It is a lazy option. There are people that we know with horses, they're still out on beautiful grass full time. They're feeding them sweet feed. It doesn't matter what we say. And then, the horse foundered. And we're like, well, what did you think was going to happen? It was a Mustang or whatever, and so many people reach out to us, asking for advice. And what it boils down to is they don't want to do the work to keep them from getting fat.
And it's
a lot of work.
Because it took me 18 months to get my mares back in order. Now they're easy because now I know exactly what to do, but it took me 18 months of hard work. So much hard work. I was soaking hay 3 times a day and going out in their field and sprinkling it in 5 little pieces of hay all over their field. That's how much hard work it was.
And the reason for that, you're soaking the hay to get the sugar content down. You're spreading it out to exercise, and it'll take them longer. There are things people do to keep horses that they'll just put them up Then the horse can't move. So therefore, well, I can't be out on grass. Well, then I just put them in a little spot. They're not moving. Horses are meant to travel all day. They're supposed to move all the time.
And ultimately, I also built a maze in that paddock to make them have to move even more. And then I started making a lot of progress. And now they're actually out, but they're out in a field that is a hill. And I do not fertilize, and I do not get rid of the weeds, and I do not mow it down. Like, it looks like a wild hill somewhere.
Right. And so there are some things you can do to prevent even getting there. What you want to do is keep the horse from getting to the point that their metabolism has essentially collapsed. And I'm not a veterinarian, I'm not an equine nutritionist, but I can tell you what I have through anecdotal experience, like what I have seen. And if you can keep them from getting into a crisis, no, I'm not even talking about founder, I'm talking about getting to the point that their weight is clearly tipped over. Once you've let them get so heavy, it is almost impossible to ever get back. But when you see the horses heading that way, or you know the breed is going to be tending toward that, then getting your mineral balance in order, keeping the horse in some kind of work, getting them off the grass, managing the grass well. There's ways to manage it. Like, get in there and do something, but don't put them on grain. Don't start that habit. Get them on just a good ration balancer. We like 80M33 is good. KIS Trace, Vermont Blend. People, they'll say, well, that one needs some because his friend's eating. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. You're killing him.
You can get hay pellets.
Yeah.
If you feel like
you can start soaking your hay, mix some straw in with your hay. They'll start depriving them of food, which can even cause more issues. Like, so they need forage going in, but lower quality forage. Soak the forage, mix the straw in. Do a tiny hay net. Chicks makes a great hay net for with very small openings. They're durable. So I
tried the hay net, but it made mine stand still too long, so I had to go to the sprinkling thing.
Well, but some people will hang it where it's dangling, and they have to work so hard because it just moves all over. There's creative things out there to do a track. You can put a track system in if you have the finances to do that.
You have to do a track right.
I say a lot of research needs to go into that. But that
don't fertilize and don't kill all your weeds and don't mow your grass down to look like a golf course.
Right.
That's a big help. And if you got a Mustang, they don't belong out in 16 acres of lovely grass.
And go wonder why. Look, it foundered. And here, I do want to say this. In all of the years that Heart of Phoenix has been rescuing horses, and the couple thousand that have come through, we, within the rescue, have never foundered a horse.
You got real close with Eve, though.
We did get real close. I talked about that. I think I talked about it on this podcast. Eve was really hard to get weight on a senior horse, terrible mouth. And we had moved and changed to Purina Senior, which is not a low starch feed. And she was getting so much of it that I almost tipped her over into laminitis.
You need to learn the crest trick, because if you can learn to put your hands on your horse's crest every day and notice the changes, that'll save you.
Her crest got swollen and hard, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got close, but we dialed it back, started putting Epsom salt in the water, switched to a very low starch, low sugar, low starch senior feed. So we could feed the same amount of pounds to her, but there was very, very little sugar, and it ended up with no issues with the feed. So, but the point of that is that some people want to say or suggest that there was just nothing to be done. The horse was going to founder. Nope. If that were true, we would see it happening within hop while they're with us, but we do not. It is a management problem. It is a management problem. Don't let your horse...
You can be willing to not manage it, but then put your horse to sleep. Don't make them suffer because you're not willing to put in the work.
Right.
Just put your horse to sleep.
Yeah, if you can't give the horse what it needs and you're going to put it through, like you have foundered it, now it's a chronic problem, and I can't keep this from happening again. I'm going to sentence the horse to continual chronic laminitic episodes and obesity. No.
I
Don't
like
do that.
That ECIR group on Facebook, they wrote a thing about laminitis, and they said if you're not willing to work to keep your horses from tipping over into laminitis, just go out to your car and slam your fingers in the car door repeatedly so you know how they feel.
Right. Well, good.
I'm like, that's a fantastic analogy.
That's the truth.
Go out and slam your fingers in your car door.
And here's the thing. This is what bothers me. We make it about the owner. It's about the horse. I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings, but just like when you see a skeletal horse that's starving because the owner won't feed it, if you continually allow your horse to become obese, it is the same kind of thing, but it is less reversible. It is a take it seriously. And in the UK, it is a chargeable criminal offense.
It is.
And it should be.
It should be.
I
was out there healing from the breast cancer surgery, sprinkling my daggone hay as soon as I was allowed to go out.
Yeah. So, and it was really, I think I feel so much this way because we've had more horses come back obese from when they've come back as adopted out horses than we have neglected from being too thin, I think. And, we can fix every one of the neglected ones from too thin, and we haven't been able to fix some of those obese horses. And it is heartbreaking. And I know people mean well, but the good intentions are behind a lot of starving horses too, so your intentions, what are you actually doing is what I want to know. Like, what are you actually doing? Your intentions, there's plenty of education out there, so there's not really an excuse to say, well, I didn't know. Yes, you did know. Just
so you know, also, if you have a horse that's being prone to getting too heavy, you really need to keep a tight rein on their hoof trims, because if you let their white line get stretched and they're too heavy, you are so much more at risk of tipping them over into laminitis. I unfortunately have to trim my pony every 4 weeks.
Yeah. So.
But I love her, and so I'm going to.
Yeah. Well.
Or I'll put her to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the thing, if you can't manage something, don't kick the can down the road. Now, I'm not saying
that's your favorite
like
thing to say.
I love kicking.
One day I'm gonna film you kicking a can down the road and make a reel out of it.
Look, there's Tania kicking the can down the road. I've just, it's such a painful thing to watch a horse go through.
Oh, it's so sad. When Spicy lived beside of me and she was getting footy, and it just drove me crazy. I was like, just give her back. Just give her back. And ultimately they did, but it was 3 or 4 episodes of that before they gave her back.
Yeah. But, and it worked out, and we were able to get her into the right situation. And she's in a very active home. Like, she's in a home where she's in work and active, and I think I'm sure that helps. And
she gets no grass and she stays on vitamin E.
Yeah. So, all right, that's all we're going to tell you for now. And until next time, I guess next time will be, you won't be